Modernity was about mass democracy, mass media, mass culture, mass commodification, mass transport, mass warfare. Accounting for and interpreting that massive change was, for Benjamin, the essential task of that moment, of those precarious interwar years.
He began by writing short stories, which is significant because his later plays are filled with stories and storytellers.
If you're asking me, will my story be as accurate as possible, then of course it will. But are truth and falsity the proper criteria? I don't know. Maybe when the time comes, my first responsibility will be to tell the best possible narrative. Isn't that what history is? A kind of storytelling.
Is it?
Imposing a pattern on events that were mostly casual and haphazard, and shaping them into a narrative that is logical and interesting. Oh, yes, I think so.
And where does the truth come into all this?
I'm not sure that truth is a primary ingredient. Is that a shocking thing to say?
Like every major artist, he is constantly reinventing himself. The work taking sharp shifts in direction that are often extremely challenging to his audiences.
Of going to a profane, pagan, irreligious land of gross materialism?
I am fully sensitive to this, sir.
Where the devil himself holds sway. And where lust, abhorrent lust, is everywhere indulged in shamelessly.
Somewhere along the line, Salome, the daughter of Herodias, got a bad rap. In popular imagination and artistic portrayals, she is thought to be a schemer who beguiles her stepfather with a seductive dance. But the Bible never says that. It never mentions a rumba or a cha-cha or a dance of 7 veils. The Bible simply says that she did a dance. She was a teenager and probably performed the cultural equivalent of an Irish step dance. If Herod had any lustful thoughts, it was not Salome's fault. Even attributing lustful thoughts to Herod is reading too much into the text. St. Mark simply reports that Herod was delighted with the dance. He liked the performance. It could have ended there, but Herod wanted to show off to his guests. So he made a ridiculous promise to give Salome anything she wanted. And that gave Herodias the opening that she needed.
Clap your hands. うんこをあなたの手に。
本来手を叩けという文が一文字の違いでうんこをあなたの手に。
単なる間違いが時に楽しい意味に生まれ変わる。
It's over. 何も終わりだ。
When coffee is all gone, it's over. コーヒーが全部なくなったら何もかも終わりだ。
心に染みる一文だ。
Humans are socialized into stories, both fictional and non-fictional. We acquire our narrativity, our ability to judge and to evaluate narratives, primarily through socialization. The narrative paradigm is what explains why not just a single image, but any single phrase or word can conjure up an enormous, very complex story behind it. All I have to do is say, Watergate, or the Challenger, or 9/11, right? And immediately, a very complex story rushes to your mind, right? This is instinct, this is spontaneous. We take any individual fact or event that happens and we slot it into the narrative that is unfolding around us.
Re-examining and reimagining ancient texts and myths and looking at them through the prism of
concept, fidelity, that a story feels true. That's the idea, not that a story is a true story, but that a story feels true to us given our existing value system.
And trying to find ways of exploring them through a perspective that I understand. It's extremely hypnotic and it acts like a hallucinogen, and every time I listen to it I feel like I'm being kind of taken down this very weird portal into somebody's mind, and I think that it starts off very quietly and kind of takes us inexorably towards this ecstatic and horror.
Step 4. The room's all decorated, now what about the carpet, Jenny?
In particular, we start to focus on the way things are framed, on montage, on cuts, on the text on the plaque, on the article next to the photo, on the location, on the political significance of art. The result of reproducibility is most aptly seen in film and how it can be cut, rearranged and manipulated. For Benjamin, this has revolutionary consequences. Art becomes scientific.
The soul never thinks without phantasm, which is to say that thought needs a material image, something to carry the thought.
Not only can art now be mass disseminated, it can also be mass edited. Reproduction was followed swiftly by variation. Individuals could put their own stamp on almost anything.
The most famous dance in all history, the Dance of the Seven Veils.
That emerges out of carefully selected perspectives.
The imagination is different from other mental processes like perceiving or remembering, insofar as to perceive something requires that something has to be there. And that's not required of the imagination.